let that resonate with you as an opening and an entry to this consciousness right now. Just absolutely no plug whatsoever, but that happens to be on our sleep channel of the way. What is it? The sleep of the way.
It's. I'll link it. I'll link
Yeah,
it in the
link it in the description. On top of, being able to create and co-create this incredible contemporary offering of an ancient practice, this digital offering, the Way 126 experience, we also master incredible healing experiences that we publish on YouTube, and it is the sleep frequency of the Way 126. Check out the channel. That is my all-time favorite instrument. It's a shakuhachi that I use to create that music. And just a little fun fact, just in case anyone wants to draw swords or straws on a shakuhachi, okay? It's a Chinese origin-based instrument. Just in case everyone wants to correct me and they want to tell me, no, a shakuhachi is Japanese. You need to realize that it was originally created in China, and it migrated over to Japan. And of course, they fall in love with it. Everyone falls in love with the shakuhachi. It's so beautiful that they might have had more of a love affair with it than perhaps the Chinese culture, and it ended up becoming known as a Japanese flute. But just so you know, it's not. In any case, it is a beautiful divine instrument of creation, and that everything that we create for the sleep frequencies of the Way 126 is available on YouTube. Jade will link it in the description, and please, from our gift to you, enjoy the experiences of the sleep frequencies of the Way 126. And without further ado, welcoming my beautiful divine high priestess Jade as my co-host. I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Qing, and this is Consciousness of the Way.
Woohoo!
Yay! Yeah, so what an amazing day.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting into the swing of things and creating these podcasts, getting them out to you as quickly as possible, and covering a lot of material that is absolutely relevant for people's awareness. And, that's what we do. That's our bag, baby, is awareness, consciousness, consciousness, awareness, consciousness. Half a dozen, 1/6 of the other. Always realizing that the jump-off point for your consciousness at the highest level can separate and can be dissolved of duality at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about how you describe consciousness sometimes, and it made me think about this. We like to describe it sometimes that everybody wakes up in the morning, they have their morning routine, pretty much the same thing every day, most days. And then you have that moment, whether it's driving in the car or at your house, and you're like, when did that bowl get here? Or when did that business put up that new sign? And I had that happen over the last couple days. And went to a business, and we've been there we've gone there at least, I don't know, over a dozen times in the last 2 years. And they have a 35-foot sign in the very front. And I was like, when did they put up that sign? And you're like, really? They've had it forever. And I actually walked inside. I felt kind of silly. I walked inside and I asked the guy, I said, "Oh, that sign out the front, that must be pretty new." And he looked at me and he was like, he knows me, and he looked at me and he was like, "No, we've had that since we opened in 2019." And that was a moment right there where it was that consciousness happening. You've walked past something, you've done something, you see something so many times, and then one day you notice something different.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm. That's consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, and Jade couldn't have said it better. I mean, it really is, the simplicity of what consciousness is in definition, awareness, and, we've talked about this before, understanding that, entry point to your consciousness is meditation, which in definition means awareness, vice versa, versa versa. So, as Jade said, it's so easy when you understand that you need to spend. The easiest way to put this is, and I offer this to anybody as the fastest way to encapsulate and to define what consciousness is. Take an object, any object, right? Place it on your kitchen table. Walk past it every day. And the second you cannot find something new about that object, your consciousness ceases to exist. It stops. Because that's what it is in of itself, is a perception. And your ability to take in more information, and as you start to refine the frequencies, because everything is information, everything is energy, everything is frequency, all of a sudden things stop. And so, like Jade said, been there a dozen times, whatever, and she discovered something new that she may very well have walked past 100 times, but the point being is sharpening her consciousness is nothing more than perception. Mm-hmm. And so raising vibration, lower vibration, higher vibration, how people perceive that, how they get into those states, right? Because we talk about the consciousness and changing your state, which in essence is raising your vibration, raising your frequency, is really the be-all and end-all to everything, right? So today we're going to go over a hot topic that is very much misunderstood, and be very aware, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, you and your reality, your perception, your truth is yours and yours alone. And so always remember, you resonate with things and you validate them to be true by the charge, by the feeling. That's how it becomes real. That validation is true to you. And so the fastest way to access your intuition is, how does it make you feel? And so we're on the topic of your perception, your consciousness. It's always the first and foremost thing that we talk about here on this channel. And understanding the 9 dimensions that we operate in. And this is where people get caught up in so much stuff when it comes to dimensions, layers. Let's be very clear. Perception is your view and your view only. The main goal of anybody, it should be, is when you're moving through this reincarnation, this life, you have to realize that you're acquiring more of a view, a wider, broader view of your reality. That's what we're doing here. You take in more. So you may start off here And as you continually become more and more aware, more and more conscious, your lens widens, and it widens further and further and further, which then creates this understanding of what consciousness is. And so 9 dimensions is basically, people are talking about it as a layered thing. And from everything that I've experienced firsthand through my own training, through what I teach people, 9 dimensions is 9 perceptions. We'll repeat it one more time. 9 dimensions is 9 perceptions. So you have, and if we want to water that down, you have, go ahead.
No. So I was just going to say, like, the first dimension is like a smaller lens. Second is bigger. And that 9th one is you're seeing like a 360-degree camera.
And it's also what it does to you in relation to the metaphysical aspect, that it becomes tangible. So you're taking matter, dissolving it into wave. It's conceptual, and it's a perception that is limited. And the fastest way to define, the 9 dimensions is levels of consciousness, right? And the faster that you just digest that, the simplicity of it, and just as Jade said, it's like your lens gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and wider. And so a dimension, in definition, is 2 parts. That's all it is. It's kind of like, what is it? Yin and yang. Yeah. In actuality, that's what most people that have an understanding of dimensions, they speak on the duality, the 2 sides, polarity, okay? So let's encapsulate that, guys. So a dimension is basically 2 parts, right? Yin and yang. Wow, okay. First dimension. And then we have like second dimension, which in definition is another separation of 2 parts, time and space, right? Then third dimension is basically experiencing the variability of time and space, and ultimately the collapsing of time and space as we move into the 4th dimension, which is basically frequency. Right? So if you're looking at things through the lens of 2 parts, it's how it's moving, right? It's actually moving. You're able to observe that the frequency of everything around you. So you've gone from, as I've spoken about it before, first person, third person, no person, third person, first person, no person. Once you hit that, and that third, first, and no person is direct correlation to the first, second, and third dimension. So once you hit that third dimension, which is basically the world we operate in, and you cross that line like a mofo, you are faster than Marty and Doc Brown in that DeLorean, and you cross over that threshold into that 4th dimension, you collapse time and space, and now everything is frequency, and it's an awareness thing. So you're looking at things in 2 parts. Each dimension has 2 parts, and then you start to acquire this level of consciousness that separates those 2 parts as you cross over into the 4th dimension, right? And so the 5th dimension is the awareness, and an even greater awareness of what you already know. And so we talk about this a lot. Lao Tzu talks about this, the 5 stages of, your evolution or consciousness within your path as a Taoist is, concept, consciousness, knowing, unconscious knowing, and then being, right? And then what happens, this is all paralleled with, the 9 dimensions, because you can translate the Taoist perception to a model that might be more reflectant of when we talk about dimensions. We talk about all these things. They often refer to the Latin interpretation or version of what that means. Like when you talk about dimensions, you talk about science. Like science is basically cutting things into two, which is validating. That's in definition what the Latin term of science means, is to cut things into two.
So when you're talking about moving from, like, say, the 3rd dimension to the 4th dimension, or the 4th dimension to the 5th dimension, are you talking about, like, you're here, but in your mind you're seeing everything as frequencies, vibrations, that type of thing? Or are you in a place, are you transported, or is it transported here and then that's how you see it?
From first-hand experience. Mm-hmm. When I first, many decades ago, when I first switched on my clairsenses, you literally are sitting here, and in a fraction of a second, it's like someone toggled on a switch, and everything is visible and tangible, has an aura, has a frequency, has an energy. And imagine this, guys. It's as if you're sitting looking at a computer screen or a TV, and you have every direction you turn has an aura, a frequency, an energy, and you're able to see it all in real time. And that includes spirits, entities. They're all present. And so when I work with any type of energy or spirit or frequency, especially spirit and entities, they're as tangible and visual to me as you are.
Right.
Now, and that's the part where people get really caught up, because they're chasing that dragon, guys. And I've come across that over many decades. People come to me looking for that enlightened gateway, and I'm more than happy to teach them. Yet they don't have what we would call, per se, patience. And so when you don't have patience, everything is a moment of hurry, anxiety. They're impatient, and so what you want most, you will never find. Always remember that. Remember the reflection of the two. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So when people are chasing for that, as Jade was talking about, you get to a place where it's past this. You have the 3D reality of the tangible objects that you look at, but now they have auras, they have frequencies, they have energies, and in my viewpoint, I see it all.
So it's almost, would you describe it almost like the second you hit that dimension, it's like, when you put on like rose-colored glasses, mm-hmm. everything is pink, or everything right. is rose. So like you put on these like aura frequency and now everywhere you look,
yes,
it looks like that.
Yes.
Or 5th dimension, you put on those glasses and everything is even more.
Yeah. And so what happens is too, and this is why we talk about the brain waves, and we talk about how powerful it is, especially with the Way 126 experience. It's energy, frequency, vibration. You're using the Way 126 to access points of your consciousness that the jump-off point, you would have had a much better chance of doing that as a child, in a childlike state, than you ever would as, Roger Smith, CEO of, a Happy Burger in Delaware somewhere, who has a 9-to-5, depressed most of the day, up to his eyeballs in bills. And his reality is he's got to go home to 5 kids and a nagging wife that's very disappointed with their reality. This is something that most people contend with, and they feel like their opportunity for change is over, which Jade and I will say, no, not true. You have the ability at any point, at any moment of any second of your life, the ability to access these ancient levels of consciousness within you, and you can absolutely manifest and become the master keeper creator of your reality instantly. And it doesn't matter whether you're 105 or you're 16 or you're 45 or you're 72, man, woman, it has no difference. It means nothing. They can talk about the biology. They can talk about what would be, and this is the science that gives you a definition of many things. I use it when I find it pertinent and relevant to what I'm saying, but in reality, I'm not a big fan of science. Science is just, honestly, another language to decipher your experience. That's all it is. And
we just talk about it in energy, frequency, vibrations.
Right. And so science is the ability to measure your experience. That's all. And so I don't need a scientist with a PhD to show me something that I can show him in real time. The ability to access this level of consciousness and the dimensions that you go into. So imagine what nine dimensions are really simple. How you crafted your imagination, your perception, how you're able to slip in and out of these dimensions and reference this level of consciousness. Imagine it like this. It's just like the glass of water or the object that you put in the middle of your kitchen table and you walk past it every day for a whole year. And every day you write down another subtle difference that you have noticed within that object. That is the 9 dimensions. And so the higher the level of frequency, because every one of these dimensions has a frequency, by the way, guys. Sorry. Everything is energy, frequency, vibration. So as a Taoist, the simplicity of it is a dimension is 2 parts. Very simple. As a Taoist, a dimension is yin and yang, and it's like shifting those gears. And so the first level, the first dimension of Taoism is the yin and yang dimension, and that is a 9 hertz frequency. And then, oh yeah, you feel that one. That's like, whoa, that kind of gave me shivers right there, because this is what I live in. And then the second dimension, which would be time and space, is again representative of the duality, understanding that each dimension is nothing more than a separation of 2 parts, is 18 hertz. And then we have the third dimension, the collapsing of time and space into the 4th dimension, which is frequency. Then the 5th one is awareness. Then you have the ability to transform in the 6th dimension. And, resonation of that frequency and vibration. Again, we're taking our viewpoint as you go up and up and up. You're becoming more and more aware of everything around you, so you're able to zone in on things and translate something that would not be visible with your own eyes as just a human being, but as your spirit body. You're able to decipher and understand everything that's going on. You have access to anything and everything that has ever happened in this existence or this realm, or however you want to define it, in this level of consciousness, in this reincarnation. And so you jump up to this. And the last 3 levels, the eternal access is like level 8. And then let's call it dimension 8. And then, of course, 9 is just being one with everything. And so we talk about this as Taoists. And that's also integrated into our app, the Way 126 experience. Let's be clear, guys. First level is mastering your emotions. That's baseline stuff. And once you get down to that, you're going to be so very charmed and excited that you have a a grasp of just understanding that you are the master keeper creator of your reality, right? And so that baseline is where you need to jump off to get to the next level. And we have 9 levels. Oh, 9 dimensions. Oh, what a coincidence. And so those 9 levels are very representative of the 9 dimensions. What a coincidence. And so, different thought patterns and processes of how people access this is, once you hit past that 4th dimension, you are now getting into a space where you're able to manipulate and shape and craft and change the frequencies real time.
And channel into other frequencies?
Booyah. Channel. That's another interesting topic that we're going to talk about. So, hitting that 5th dimension, the awareness, the transformation, the resonance, and then, that access at the 8th dimension of being at a place where you can access anything and everything real time. So this is what I would like to call I am really multitasking, not telling myself in my head that I think I'm multitasking as a human being living in a 3-dimensional reality. No, I am at a consciousness where I am absolutely accessing everything and all things within this reality at any point, at any time. That's what the 8th dimension means. And within Taoism, it's the level we call ultimate. And so the one above that is, of course, some people reflect that, again, you're looking at this object and you're finally able to see it as one. We're all one. You are me, I am you. There is no separation. Understanding that. And so you access that in the 3rd dimension as you jump off in the 4th. You're already accessing that. You're understanding that all is one, one is all. We're all the same. We're all interconnected. This is the quantum physics model, guys. So on that 9th level and within the way 126, we have 2 years worth of material where you are gaining that consciousness point. Each level is about 9 weeks. But by the end of it, the definition of superhuman will have to be rewritten, because that's where you're going to be at in your level of consciousness. And so being is the ultimate within our stratosphere, our universe, our reality as Tao, right? And understanding that, because people will talk about the 5th dimension as being an awareness tool where you're aware, oh my goodness, now I'm aware that I am evolved, that I am of a higher vibration, a higher frequency. And, this is where I beg to differ on a lot of people that want to struggle with the laws of the universe, because it is nothing more than perception. It's only real until you say it is real. I'm not struggling with you guys on this material. People will sit and attempt to talk about the dimensions as layers that you get into. And it's actually just an observation. It's a consciousness of everything as a whole. And how much more can you see, as Jade was talking about?
And if somebody said, okay, I want to get to that 9th dimension, how long will it take me?
Well, you can access it right now. Yeah, baby. And so here's the thing. That's the whole point about what we do with the Way 126. It's a guaranteed access point to your consciousness. It's a guaranteed training system, a methodology that is a Taoist tested and proven over thousands of years, handed down from generation to generation. And this this particular mechanism that we use, which has got to do with the entry point, using your senses to access your consciousness and constantly elevate it to the dimension, the ninth dimension, you could be there right now. Now, what I've known and what I know over the last 30 years, how I'm able to use it, how I'm able to shift and collapse time and space, how I'm able to affect change by creating miracles, healings, manifestation, magic. All these things take place because I know it is as it is. And the old expression, take everything at face value, is so critical to cutting through the BS of your experience and being able to roll it out into a tangible reality where you are truly being the master, the keeper, the creator, and you are shifting and changing things void of time and space. You are the magnet to your reality. You are the magnet of your wildest dreams, and you're drawing everything to you. And that's within the quantum model. So, those 9 levels or 9 dimensions, everyone should look at that as a dimension is just a level of yin and yang, baby. And so, ultimately, being 2 parts, and you're going to a point where the dimensions are not separated in 2 parts. Past that 4th dimension, it just becomes at one with everything. And so you always, as we talk about, Jade and I talk about all the time, is duality. That's where everyone starts. That's where you got to start. You got a baseline. That's why we talk about coherence. We talk about how important it is to synchronize the brain and the heart and the gut. And these are the 2 tuning forks. So really, if you're talking about duality, you're talking about the brain and the heart. The heart is magnetic, the brain is electric. These are the 2 parts that you're talking about as a separation, yin and yang, up and down, left and right, in and out. And those 2 parts, when they connect together, Shazam, you activate the 3rd Dantian, or the 3rd component, which is your intuition, which is your gut. And so when you're doing things like creating yourself, priming yourself for a manifestation, and so let's talk about that. Part of the Way 126 experience, after every level, you obtain a chamber to train the skills that you have acquired through that experience. And that's available to all people that complete each level. Each level is 9 weeks. And that chamber is designed to amplify everything that you have learned, everything you have trained yourself, everything you have mastered within that 9-week experience. And you obtain that skill, and then you have the chamber to go to as if you would your dojo, your gym, whatever, so you can refine your skills even more. But it's the solidifier.
Concentrated.
Right, it's a concentrated moment, because what happens is, as you develop these skills, as the Way 126 takes you through it, all the ancient tools that are integrated into this experience, it becomes faster and faster. And we talk about eliminating, collapsing time and space within the quantum model. That's what happens with this. Something that you would have initially in level 1 had an experience. The first indicator is your kinesthetic response. You feel it. By the time you finish the 9th level, you are just in your mind going, oh, I'm going to go home and do my Way 120s. And you're already experiencing that energy and that palpable frequency vibration that comes with the experience, because you're trained in it. Every time you use it, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And then it's like turning a dial up on your consciousness. You hit the next niche, and it just gets stronger and stronger. I've got people that I've worked with for 30 years that still to this day will say, this is unbelievable. Every time it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. There's no end to this energy. It's like, it's crazy. I can't fathom in my mind how it's possible. Always remember this, guys. The Tao is abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite, and the truth to everything, which reflects back to this 9-dimensional model and how people want to reflect on how you shift through your consciousness. So, what do we know in definition what the 9 dimensions are? They are 2 parts. Each dimension is 2 parts, and then you shift past in the 4th dimension to no dimension. That's where we shift gears, like third person, first person, no person. That is part of that model, applying it to those dimensions, right? So, in essence, 9 dimensions is your perception and your consciousness of your reality. And the higher you're able to shift it, the higher you're able to get to that next level. And you can define it as that. I'm sharing with you the framework because this is how we use it within Taoism. And that framework helps you understand. And all it does is it synchronizes with you. Because if you're listening to this, hey, I got news for you. There's no coincidences. So you're listening to this because you're meant to hear it. You're meant to hear it right here, right now. And understanding the framework of those 9 dimensions is how you are able to jump off. And so when we use the Way 126 experience, we access your senses that you're born into this world with. We amplify your consciousness through that. And then we get into the secret sauce, baby. So what you don't realize, and I'm just going to let everyone know, and people, all the people that use the Way app, and there's a lot of them, they're going to be able to see this and go, holy crap, this makes sense. Well, the understanding is we're working on your energetic body as a part of that integration. We're integrating your spirit, your energy, and your emotional, all as one. And that takes place within the experience of the 126. So guess what? All you need to do is you open your senses by hitting play. The visual and audible experience create a kinesthetic response. That's the solidify. That's the consciousness dial that turns it up. That makes it real to you. And then you go through the experience. And every time you experience that, your energy body is more and more opened and activated and dilated. Dilated so that it's a clear fluid flow, the flow, right? So that flow is what you need when it comes to jumping to that 4th dimension. So once you finish mastering your emotions, and you will have your emotions, you control your emotions don't control you. You are the master, the keeper, the creator, and you will come to that realization and go, holy moly, I really do have charge of this. My emotions are my little you know what I'm talking about. And that's right. You need to know this. This is a knowing. This is a part of shifting your lens point, your viewpoint of your reality, so that you can jump into these other dimensions, which is nothing more than looking at something and shifting your consciousness. And so what's a solidify to help you shift into these dimensions and make them tangible is accessing your energy body. Because, how are you experiencing this simulation as a human being? What I like to call, you are an eternal, immortal being having a human being experience. Booyah! That's the reality, right? So you're having this, you're eternal, immortal human being. Whoa, what? So you're an eternal, immortal, having a human being experience. And within this, what do you use? This is the vehicle. This is the container that everything you're experiencing is registering through this container. So we have our neurology, which is the information entity highways throughout your body that are able to switch on and off experiences that validate it to be real to you. Because the spirit is everything. The spirit is everywhere. This will be conceptual to you until it's not. And that's a perfect place to be. Just planting those seeds as I do as a sifu, and if you don't know what that means, in definition, it means teacher. I'm planting those seeds to trigger your consciousness to turn that dial up. Because that's what you're doing. You're turning the dial up, and you're bringing everything to you. because you are the master keeper creator of your reality.
Yeah, it's like your brain, everybody's brain is working on like a telegraph where deet, 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 and it's like, we need to upgrade you to like a laptop with an M1 chip and the whole processing system. You can access the internet, all of those things, because that's just a easy example of perspective. It went from all of it's a form of language and communication and receiving and sending messages, and it's like, we just want to give you the greatest model to have you,
Right. What an awesome analogy that Jade gave us right now is understanding that we're just a cell phone, and so we're transmitting frequencies. And if you want that frequency to come into your field, you want to be the magnet for that, you must resonate on that energy and frequency, the same frequency, whatever it is. And I'll tell you this right now, you can take this to the bank. If you want $1 million, first you must see it, then you must emote it, and finally, you must feel it. That's that simple. Again, everything is energy, frequency, vibration. So you want that drawn to you. You sample the frequency, and this is part of the skills that you learn within the Way 126 experience. That's why it's 2 years worth of material. The first 9 weeks gives you the mastering of your emotions. Booyah! It's a chamber for mastering your emotions, and then there's also a manifestation chamber, because there are two of the same. Once you create the coherence in your body, you synchronize the brain and the heart and the gut, you're going to be dead on accurate every single time. Your gut feeling will be 100% accurate. To create coherence, you must use your emotions in a state of bliss, joy, harmony, content. And these are high frequency emotional states. And when you are able to do that, that synchronizes the coherence, creating a heart rate variable, which is where all the information comes in and out through your heart. You speak from your heart. People don't understand. This is the epicenter. This is a data center. This is where all the information is going in and out of, and it's dictating. And you think that it's coming in here, but it's coming in here.
Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Bingo.
The classic one-liner.
Bingo, right. And all these expressions are generated from all these ancient systems and practices that have been going on for thousands of years, and they morph into different levels of expression, and then you end up with, I wear my heart on my sleeve, or I've got a gut feeling, or I lead with my heart, or I think with my head and I lead with my head, and it works 20% of the time. I lead with my heart, it's 50% of the time. I got a gut reaction, it's 30%. The reason there's so many variables, people, is because they're not coherent, they're not balanced. And part of the Way 126 experience is balancing all your energy centers so your virtue to emotion ratio is equal. And so when those energy centers are all aligned, you flow like water. And when you flow like water, all of a sudden you're able to jump off into that fourth dimension.
Or fifth. Or sixth, or seventh, or eighth, or
ninth. Right. And remember, these dimensions are perceptions, and the perception is your consciousness, and your consciousness is raised. Now, you get to all these different dimensions. What does that mean? Well, what can you do with it? Well, the whole point of it is, at that highest level of being, if you have the tools that we teach you, being able to run the energy, being able to activate your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, your thalamus, the three treasures that we talk about in the Upper Dantian, three of the treasures that are encapsulated by the 81 chambers of the Upper Dantian. Booyah, there's some magic going on there. Anyone, just give me a DM if you want to know more, because you will know a lot more. But from a Taoist perspective, that's an energy center. And so from ancient practices, whether it's Taoism, whether it's Hinduism, whether it's Hermetic principles, it's coming to a certain point. These are energy centers. And when you activate your pineal gland, that is the antenna for all that is everything. It's the magical fun factory, the alchemist wonderland. And when you learn how to toggle that and saturate it and absolutely flood it with energy, which is what we're about. This is our bag. This is what this channel is about. When you learn how to move the energy through your nervous system, and you're able to completely engulf that pineal, the pituitary gland with energy, you can turn it on and off. You can shift when you're in those higher dimensions, shift your access point to your own chemistry within your body, and start moving things around real time that you would think that was impossible. It's very, very possible when you're in that state of no person.
Can you do it for other people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Once you get to that level of consciousness, and, this is the other thing. I've been doing this 30 years, and I would say that I accessed a lot of this stuff pretty almost instantly when I started on my journey. I fast-tracked a lot of this stuff so that, within the Way 126 experience, you are able to get there at one fraction of the time. And ultimately, I'm going to say this, all bets are off. Depends on how you approach the 126. You could be at the ninth dimension. And by the way, that once you hit the ninth dimension, it doubles. And because within Taoist numerology and how we use sacred words and sacred numbers and sacred symbols, 9 is the most powerful and the highest number. We use that in so much of our magic and our healing and our manifestations. And so when you hit the ninth dimension, it goes to the 18th dimension. When you hit the 18th, it goes to the 27th. The 27th to the 36th. The 36th to the 45. It's never ending, guys. It's abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. It never change. It will never stop. It will keep transmuting, and it'll keep that component. So, Jade is also very humble and doesn't want to mention her own skills and her own abilities, but I appreciate her talking to me as if she's never done that before, because anyway, we won't get into it, but she has some incredible insight and skills that her and I have developed over the years, and understanding how to access that pineal gland, and then just bathing that pineal gland in the energy, the chi, the life force that we create. And we've talked more about Jing level and understanding that you're born into this world with a constitution, and through your practices that are being handed to you right now by us, you can level up your energy, level up your consciousness, level up your being. And when you do that, magical things start taking place. Your ability to access and transmute and transform things in real time that's beyond, it's right in front of you. So no time, no space, no waiting for anything. Boom, it happens. That's what we call real magic. And that would then lead me to talking a little bit about channeling. As we progress with our journey, we've started this incredible app, and the app will give you the baseline, and then you have 2 years worth of training. You have all these other add-ons, but I'll also be opening up the Taoist magic component and getting people to really go deeper into crafting and creating architecture and what they want to do with this consciousness and how it's tangible. Once you're able to turn on that energy body, you're able to shift and move that energy void of time and space, and things happen like miracles instantly, wherever you are, whenever you are, however you are. And so we will be opening up that, and we'll be talking much more in depth about channeling, because that's really important. It's kind of like getting to manifesting, which is another baseline skill. I would have to say it's more infantile in its nature when it comes to the progression of what we teach in consciousness, but that skill is a starting point. That's a jump-off point. So you master your emotions, you then create the coherence that's necessary for you to synchronize with the universe, i.e. the quantum, and you're able to access levels of understanding and consciousness using epigenetics to then switch on and off your gene expression, which then is relevant to also switching on and off the alchemical factory that's inside you and all the wonderful things that you can do internally that do not need external forces, right? So, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, and you've referenced this before, it's like a language. So it's just like learning a language. For anyone who's learned a language, whether it's English or, a different language, you have to start with a baseline. You first have to learn, the words and everything. Then you start forming sentences. Then you get more advanced. Then you get more advanced. And then you can, all of it. This is just like a language.
Right. And she makes a great point. The really profound part about that, as she talks about, learning a language, it's regressing to that childlike state, guys. Mm-hmm. When you get to that childlike state, the whole point of the Way 126 experience is shifting the gears so your brain waves put you there, right there, alpha, theta, bam, bingo, and then you access gamma. And, I've had EEGs on people that have gone through this experience, and you watch it shift like butter. You watch their brains light up, and everything pops off like fire, like a fireworks experience, and you see everything shift and change as they're moving through those brainwaves, and they're accessing them. And in theory, being science, would not be able to validate how you could possibly switch on alpha and gamma at the same time when they're at other ends of the spectrum. 100% can do that with this particular material that we're releasing to the world, and that's where it's so freaking powerful. I'm so excited because I want everyone to be one badass mofo. I want everyone to have the ability and awareness to create anything and everything at will, and that higher consciousness and vibration that we're bringing to the world will effectively resonate people to a place that we would love the whole world to be in, which is this bliss, joy, happiness, gratitude. And your definition at a starting point is subject to your life experiences. We've gone over this. Go to previous podcasts to hear in more depth what that means, being your personality self. But understanding that you start off with your own perception, and as you evolve and become one with everything, you can access it all. It's no longer about you, John Roger Moore, or Sarah Lee Mary. It's all got to do with awareness, consciousness, and accessing the energy, frequency, vibration, and that you can get the light, the information, and the energy from anything at any time instantly. And so, the channeling is kind of like a baseline. It's really important that you get first-hand information. All my teachers, when I reference my teachers, these are spirits and energies of my immortal teachers that I access real time, instantly. They're around me right now, and they're as tangible as jade is. And no, I haven't been drinking. I don't take any illicit drugs. That's what happens when you're aware, baby, and you're able to tap into those frequencies, the energy. Everything is frequency, everything energy, and having them around me at all times is like my little blankie, and I need it because it gives me the knowing, because I'm accessing information firsthand, real source, firsthand. Not from someone else or, Google or some other source that's been tainted, that's been limited, that's been controlled. We want you guys to be empowered. We want you to have first-hand access to that information. that's why that channeling program that we're going to start up here soon enough, there's two components. We're going to have the channeling component, which is basically, in definition, part of what we call is the Taoist Rites program. And the Taoist Rites program comes in two parts. Channeling is basically, it's in essence, oneness, ultimate, and being, encapsulating those three highest levels, which would be the last three dimensions. That's the channeling program. Then we have the architecture of healing, which is the healing program, which we teach people through colors and frequencies how to use those to help people shift their consciousness to create their own healing. And so, we've got a bountiful amount of access to this Taoist stuff, because that's what we do, that's all we do, that's what we breathe, eat, and sleep. And so the channeling dimensions, which is basically consciousness, levels of consciousness, and then understanding that shifting that, you need to refine your tools so that you can then do what you want with it. You can get there from here instantly and be there. You can be one with everything. You can be absent of it. You can be absent. You can be everything at once.
No drugs required.
No drugs required. I'm not saying that everyone has a tool and a reason for whatever they use, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. The biggest point is consciousness. At a certain point in your life's journey, the sum of your life experiences, you will come to a consciousness dial, click, that they're of no value to you at a certain point. And I believe that, especially today, a lot of people fall on these extra external forces to trigger the DMT experience that we produce ourselves. And I'll give you a trip. I'll do the Pepsi challenge with anybody that's taken any of these sort of external, I would call them external substances, external forces that are being used to evoke the conscious response that you want. And I'll take you through an experience led by my teachers, one of my teachers, whether it's Supreme Purity, Jade Purity, Highest Purity, and they'll channel through me, and I will share an experience with you that will be second to none. And then you can reassess what you believe is a level of consciousness, because it all starts from here. Remember, that's the antenna. The pineal gland is the antenna. And when you are able to master moving that energy in, through, and around your body and out from your body as this container, you're then able to shift and change things. Mm-hmm. And that happens instantly, void of time and space. So it's a learning curve. And when Jade talks about that model, that childlike state, it's so important. And like I said, you guys can master this instantly. Now, I access this stuff instantly when I started many, many years ago, because I was able to just accept everything as it is. It's if Barney's here, I believe you. If you tell me, and now when I access whatever I do with anybody, all their guardians, guides, and angels are surrounding them. And again, it's a perception. So people talk on this. Well, what does that mean? It means that if you resonate with lower vibration, and just the spectrum, high vibration, low vibration, you are in part all of the same. You're one and all in one. So that means that you don't just stay in a low vibration or you go to a high vibration. You're all the vibrations. You're just changing the dial as to where you want to resonate at that particular time. Those vibrations are all within you. They're all part of you. They're all part of everything. And that you're not void of one or the other. You're encapsulated with all of it. It's just turning the dial to where you want to be. And so when you use the Wave 126 experience, you are accessing those brain waves that put you right into that window of the fourth dimension, and then your ability to manifest, your ability to change and transmute everything real time, as we've spoken of before. It's limitless, it's infinite, it's abundant, it's timeless. It's the truth to everything. And so I get excited, Jade and I get excited every day that this is what we do for a living. I don't know how I can deal with it. First world problems, right? And this is what we do all day, every day. And helping people get to that state of consciousness is the most exciting thing for me, to bear witness the transformation, bear witness when you shift that consciousness, all of a sudden all the things that are limited in your reality become unlimited. They become unlimited. Then whether that's reflectant of you need $1 million in your bank account, or you need a physical healing, there's something imbalanced within you, that is all possible. And once you're given these tools, you do it yourself. Because that's really how to do it. That's really how to do it. So, wow, today's been really interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of information. It's a lot of understanding. But understand that each dimension is just a perception of the same thing. So it's a higher level of consciousness in a nutshell. So you have nutshell quantum model, which is basically collapsing space and time. We're all interconnected. It's right there. It like happens. Click your fingers, it's happening. Think it happens. You use epigenetics, the ability to shift and turn on and off your gene expression, which in turn means that you're now working with the alchemical, the infrastructure of what's going on inside you. When you switch these genes on and off, you're also turning on and off all the hormones. Everything is a system. Everything is interconnected. We then move to Nigong. Nigong is basically moving energy with your mind, and that's what you're being trained in. Whoever's using the Way 126, this is a little level up for you. You are being trained in it as we speak. All you do is hit play. Like I said, Jade and I created this with all the ancient text and scriptures and the training systems that we've integrated into this experience that's thousands of years old. This is here and shifting you in a Nigong experience. It's also shifting you in a Qigong experience where you're mastering moving energy with your breath. And then ultimately the 11 herbs and spices that are proprietary, but it all encapsulates the experience that turns you into the master keeper, the creator of your reality. So you start there, you move, and you get into manifestation mania as you slip in past that third into the fourth, and then you're creating what you want, when you want, how you want. And so that all comes from the Way 126 experience. And yeah, going through those 9 dimensions, I think it's really important. It's been asked to me a lot lately, so I wanted to define it more so people understood. It's very simple. It's nothing more than your heightened sense of awareness and a different level of consciousness in of itself.
And perspective.
That's it. So understand this. You want to really test your consciousness as you're moving through the Way 126, as you're developing these skills, as you're mastering your spiritual, energetic, and physical body through the Way 126 experience. Because once you get to being able to move energy at will, oh, baby, this is crazy stuff that's going to take place for you. So using that, moving it through that 9 dimensions, you can level up on that consciousness. But if you haven't, you're not going to arrive there without developing your energetic body. So I just want to give that as a caveat. You need to develop your energetic body, just like you need to move the muscles in your physical body, whether it is a skeletal muscle or your brain muscle. You must move everything. You must get maximum amount of blood flow, which then moves the energy also. So understanding that, we get to this whole new level. So consciousness, that's what it is. 9 dimensions is just how you see your reality. And if you want to test yourself, put an object in the middle of your kitchen table, walk past it every day, and the second you stop seeing something different in that object, your consciousness has stopped. So you need to turn the dial up again. You need to redefine what's going on that has limited your perception, and pivot and move to the next level of consciousness on the dial. And of course, talking about the channeling and how that's a base level within the spirit world, and understanding how that works is so exciting that we're going to bring that to you. And everyone should have their own access to information firsthand. Don't ever rely on me or Jade or anyone else with any system or anything else. You will resonate with what we're saying. If you're listening to me, you're supposed to be here. There is no coincidences. You are listening to me. You're listening to Jade. You're bathing in the information. It excites you. You get that electric charge. It's for you. And if it isn't, then you'll move on to something else. That's the whole beautiful part about you being individually in energy, frequency, and vibration. You are syncing with what works for you. Remember, equal to or greater than is how you create change. And so the channeling, and then of course, really using that as a baseline. So you basically, you master your emotions, you're able to start manifesting, and including within that, you're able to start channeling to get your real-time information personally. With that said, I think we've had an amazing day. I think we've gone over a lot of information, and I think it's going to be very helpful to people, because we've had this question a lot, and I want to answer the question. I want people to understand this and make it easy so they can shift their paradigm. Oh, whoa. Yeah, again, little faux pas on my part, but I want you guys to understand this. I want you to embody this. I want you to embrace it so you can make yourself the master keeper, creator of your reality, and do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want, and do it instantly. And that will take place once you sharpen these skills. So, with that said, I want to thank my incredible host, Jade, High Priestess.
Yeah, thank you. No, this has been great. I think it's a good refresher just for us as well, and to share with everyone else. I mean, you can never kind of open your perspective on anything, no matter how many times you hear it. Right back to the Jade Emperor, one of my teachers. The student is the teacher is the student, forever. And that comes back to a dimension, 2 parts, polarizing polarity, and realizing that it's forever moving. Yeah. That relates to the 4th dimension. I mean, we could start integrating all these things on much different levels, but you guys get what we're talking about. You understand what it means. So with that, I want to thank you, Jade, for this incredible, amazing walkthrough on some of the incredible things that we're exposed to, that we get to experience on a daily basis, and we love sharing it with others. Thank you, High Priestess Jade. Thank you. And again, like, subscribe, share with someone who you think needs to hear it, and comment below on other topics that you're interested in and that we can talk about and give, more insight.
Right. And if you want to create your reality right here, right now, go right to the app. Hit subscribe and start becoming the master, the keeper, the creator of your reality. It's at your fingertips. And with that said, your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Qing, signing out, and I will see you soon, my friends.